Can you move a little bit? Thanks a lot. Class number 16. Yeah, thanks a lot. 29. 21. Can you move a little bit? What about 21? Class number 21.
Hi.
Okay. Could you move a little bit? I can't see you clearly. And class number 30. And then any one of you see class number 2? Oh, no. Class number 2. Class number 8. Class number 20. And 23. So can you see all the students? So if you still remember last time we have talking about the tropical cyclone, how does it move? So today we would like to look at that will be the formation process. So let me share the screen. So you can refer the details in your textbook page 12. So this formation process that will be one of the important point in chapter in this unit. So make sure that you put a big star to remind yourself you have to revise this session. So to start with, I guess I don't know whether you remember the 4 conditions to form a tropical cyclone. So what about class number 20? What about class number 4? Class number 4. Usually, the tropical cyclone is formed in which season?
Summer.
So, do you think that the conditions in what kind of weather conditions in summer that can favor the development of tropical cyclone? So,
is it like if there's more rain?
Rain. Okay. So, one of it, I just want to remind everyone of you of thanks a lot first. That will be the conditions of the favorable conditions of tropical cyclone. So you will find one of the informations I would like to share here that will be related to this. We need that will be hot enough. So the major reasons why tropical cyclone usually find in summer, that will be because we need the sea surface temperature that is above 26 degrees Celsius. So this will be the first, I guess you have to remember. Secondly, so because you will find during summertime, we have such high temperature and then make the air rise. If you know that when the air heat up, it's going to rise. That will be another one before we can form the warm and wet air. So, so you will find that we are not talking about just the air temperature, but we would like to talk about sea surface temperature because one of the formation process we need the moisture, and you will find A tropical cyclone usually fly over the sea. The formation that will be because we need the moisture to be to be one of the energy source for the tropical cyclone. So these two conditions make you will find these two conditions usually find in summer, and that's why you can see tropical cyclone occur in summer usually. So this will be the two. Another one that is related to the strong convections. So later on, we'll explain more related to strong convections. And finally, of course, if this situation keep going on, that may the possibility to form the low pressure center. So this will be the four favorable conditions that make the tropical cyclone form. So I guess when I ask you the information related to no matter for the either I may ask you related to formation process and other possible questions that will be asking you related to favorable condition. So you can go to page 12 of the textbook and highlight this for information. So sea surface temperature is above 26 degrees Celsius. Secondly, that will be warm and wet air, and then strong convections, and finally that will be a low air pressure center. So how these four conditions finally form the tropical cyclone, that will be the focus today. So may I move on? Have you highlighted information on your textbook? Go back. So if you look at your textbook, page 12, so it has a paragraph called formation process. So you find we try to make use of the four conditions I mentioned before, and then to just add some verb and the connections in between. So this will be the formations. So first of all, if you still remember, due to especially in summertime, the sea surface temperature is reach 26 degrees Celsius, that make the warm and wet air rise. And that means we are going to have the evaporations and then up to the high sky, and then you will find that we have the condensation process that will be occurred in the top of the sky. So this one is just like what you learned in water cycle. So we have the evaporations, then we have the condensations and form the clouds. So I guess here that will be the step 1 and 2. And then later on, you will find that compare with the surrounding area, because here we have the air rise. So you can see the area the cursor I right now put it on, that will be the lower pressure here. So when compared with the surrounding, you can see the surrounding area, the air pressure is relatively higher. And that's why the air will be keep moving from the high pressure area into the low pressure center. So, but you will find when air go up and up, so I try to draw some, so you can see here, the air keep going up and up, but you will find that it will reach the upper limit, and that means it's no longer it's made it impossible to keep rising, and especially when it meets the area with a cooler area in the top of the sky, and that's why it's going to sink again. So moving and then sink. And this process, you will find that it keep going on, and then this one will form the strong convections in this case. So we will find more air move in, more air move in, and then up to a very high area is going to cool down and then sink again. Cool down and sink, cool down and sink. And then because in the center, so that will be, we call the low pressure center. And that's why some of the, you will find the air is going to sinking at the center part of the tropical cyclone as well. And that's why you will see that the center part of the tropical cyclone become the low pressure center. And of course, the air will keep moving in again and again. And that's why the tropical cyclone formed in this case. So you will find that basically, if you look at this picture, you can see somehow, sorry. So at the very beginning, it's just a normal situation. We have the condensations when we have the air rise. But you will find because it's going to be form a very thick cloud cover. It's not just the normal one you see in your daily life. So usually the form, the cloud, I guess the thickness of the cloud is have to up to 12 to 15 km. So that will be a very thick one in order to form the tropical cyclone. And then you will find that at this, due to the Coriolis force, so you can see the air in fact is spinning. So you can see somehow the air here that will be spinning, but at the same time you can see we have more air move in and form the strong convections, and that's why it can form the low pressure center, because some of the air is going to be sink afterward, and that's why it's going to the pressure that will be relatively lower, so that will be the center. So hopefully by using these pictures, you can see due to if this tropical cyclone keep moving within the ocean, you will see moisture will be one of the source of energy, and that's why it can keep going on, and the wind speed will wind speed increase with the moisture as well as the heat source. The heat source, that means the temperature, the sea surface temperature is kept at a high level, above 26 degrees Celsius. So this will be somehow the formation process. So hopefully, if you look at the textbook page 12, you can see the same diagram, and then you know why the whole process occur for the tropical cyclone. So you will find that most of the tropical cyclone affect Hong Kong. They are formed in the Western Pacific Ocean. The major reasons is that if you still remember, we need moisture to be one of the energy for the tropical cyclone, and that's why the massive ocean just next to Hong Kong, you will find that will be one of the favorable conditions to form the tropical cyclone. And you will find usually the tropical cyclone move westward, and that's why Hong Kong will be one of the places that may be affected by tropical cyclone. And of course, due to some of them, of course, they will move northward as well. So here, I try to show you the path of the tropical cyclones, and you will find that here at the very beginning, usually they just form a relative, the wind speed is relatively lower. So you can see here we call tropical storm. And then later on, due to we did have more energy bring by the moisture from the ocean, then you will find that the tropical cyclone becomes stronger, and so you can see it becomes a further tropical storm. But when it keep moving and moving, but once it's moved inland, you can see the tropical cyclone become weakened and then change to be the tropical depressions. So so you will find that somehow tropical cyclone may be weakened. One of the situations that will be whether they can have enough moisture, the supply of moisture. If it's want to become stronger, then moisture that will be one of the important source for the tropical cyclone become stronger. But so in the second picture, you can see here, even though on this path, always we have the moisture, the supply of moisture. But why in this case it's not going to become even stronger? So originally here you can see it's called a super typhoon, but why later on it's only turned into severe one? So can you guess it, the reasons why? So we did have the supply of moisture, but it no longer becomes stronger. What is the major reason? What about Kelvin?
Okay, hello.
So can you guess the reasons why? At the very beginning, it's very strong one, but why later on it's moved northward? Why it's changed into a severe one only?
I don't know.
Just think about the location, or we need. So do you remember we need the moisture as well as we need the heat?
Is it because the northern place has less moisture than the
Sorry, can you repeat again? Okay.
northern place has less moisture and the wind is not strong? It's less strong.
I just hear in the northern part, and then
The place has less moisture and then
less moisture, but you can see it's still over the ocean. Apart from moisture, what about heat source? Any change for the heat source? So what do you think about the temperature? What about, yeah, I see some of you know that. So if you still remember, we said that compare with the place here. So you can, oh, sorry. Compare with the place, so you can see the latitude here is 20 degree north. And if you look at the place here already, maybe it's 40 degree north. Okay, at least here you know that it's 30 degree north. So you can see somehow once it moves northward, so at least you know that when we move northward, what is the temperature change? If we move northward. So the farther away from the equator, you should know that the temperature should be lower. And that's why you can just imagine if we move northward, you can see somehow the temperature here should be lower. Maybe the major reasons why here become weaker, one of the reasons is move to the colder area. So here I just want to pinpoint why okay, Emily? So you can unmute.
Teacher Anna.
Yes.
I want to know if the tropical cyclone keep on moving northerly, will it be warm at the end?
I guess if it keep moving northward, usually it's going to depends on the temperature over there. So if temperature you will find there is keep lower and lower, then you will find that usually the tropical cycle is won't keep going on. It's going to be we call discipline.
But what if the tropical cyclone keep moving and then until it travel the world?
It is impossible to travel around the world. On one hand, you will find we need to measure energy. One is moisture, and other one is heat. So if you will find when we move northward, it's quite obvious the temperature. If more closer to the North Pole, you can see the temperature is lower and lower. And if even though we have moisture, but if the temperature that is not high enough, then you will find the tropical cyclone cannot grow stronger, or it will be even dissipate later on.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So you will find one of the just now I have mentioned, so we need the energy. So where the energy source come from, one of it that will be related to whether we have the heat source. So if it's going to move to the colder water, just somehow the sea surface temperature below 26 degrees Celsius, that is make it less possible to grow stronger or even become weaker and weaker. That will be one of the situations. The second situation that will be just now, even though the sea surface temperature is kept at the high level, but why sometimes you will find that it's no longer grow stronger, or it's, even though it's going to disappear later on. So that will be related to whether we have the supply of moisture. So one of it, you can see when we move to the inland part over the land, you can see somehow the moisture supply more water. Not really. So you will find because we have the uprising air is keep going, and you can see the cloud cover that is thick than other. So the factor of moisture and heat. That will be the two major energy source. That will be from the moisture as well as the heat. Of course, apart from these two, if you still remember whether we can form the strong convections as well as the low pressure center, that will be another two issues. And the reasons why sometimes, even though we have the condensation, we form the clouds, but you will find we just have the precipitation instead of it's from the tropical cyclone, because whether it finally can form the low pressure center, and whether we can have the whether we can have the strong convection. So here, that will be another issue. So we would like to look at why under some situations, tropical cyclone become weaker or even dissipate. The meaning that means just like disappear, or is no longer grow. So this will be one of it is because when we move to the colder one, we lost the heat source. Another one that will be because of moving inland. So there will be stop of the moisture from the sea surface. Another one that will be related to friction. So I guess you had to hear someone would like to surf over the land. Usually you hear somehow they surf over the sea because of one of it is because of the friction. It's much more easy for you to surf over the sea. So here that will be another issue and another reasons why the tropical cyclone cannot move over. So you will find right now we said that usually the tropical cyclone affect Hong Kong, that will be moved westward. And you can see just to the west of Hong Kong, you will see the massive land. And that's why usually it's going to display after moving maybe just some coastal area, and then later on you will find it's going to display. No other description. Yes, it's quite hard to remove. Yeah. Just like right now, I ask you to slide over the floor, then you will find it's quite difficult for you without any tools, and then it's difficult for you to move as well. Yes. Okay. So because of the moisture stop as well as if we loss of the and also the frictions, and you can see the strength of the wind. That means the wind speed will decrease, and that is going to weaken and dissipate. So right now, I would like you to fill in the blanks on your supplementary notes, page 8. So that will be the answer. Explain why a tropical cyclone dissipates. So you will find somehow the tropical cyclone will lose its energy when travel over the colder water and lost its heat source. Another one that will be if it move over the land, the supply of moisture from the ocean stall, and then the frictions over the land surface structure, and then that make it decrease the strength of the wind and become weakened and dissipate. So, any questions so far? So, so if you don't have, so have you finished copying down the information? Okay, so you will find that somehow, usually the tropical cyclone is formed firstly a very thick, we call the thunderstorm cloud. Okay, make it simple, and then at the very beginning it's rather weak, and we call this one a tropical depression. And then later on it's become stronger, then a little bit stronger, that will be we call tropical storm or severe tropical storm. Basically here it's just if we talking about typhoon signal, here is just typhoon signal number 1 or number 3. And then under what situations we are going to call it typhoon, then that will be related to the wind speed. It should be up to 118 km per hour. And then even stronger one, and then we call a severe typhoon, or very, very strong one, we call a super typhoon. So in your textbook, you can see, so I just skip this. So you can see this table. So I just want to remind you, you are not required to remember all the data here. Okay, you are not required to do so, but you have to know between the different names here, you should know that the higher wind speed here, so this one, that will be, this will be like this. You can see the super typhoon that will be stronger than the severe one. So I guess you should know the one on your right hand side that will be stronger than the one on your left hand side. That will be enough. So I guess this will be somehow I want you to remember. So you can see, of course, higher wind speed, that means the tropical cyclone that will be stronger. So I guess what at least when I give you the term tropical depression and super typhoon, so at least you know that super typhoon should be a stronger one, and you are expect with a more damages like this. That will be fine. So to end the third part of Unit 2, so you will find that one of the information I want you to remember that will be tropical cyclone is a kind of low pressure system. On the other hand, you will find most of them is formed in tropical area. So if you still remember the favorable conditions, so you know the reasons why it's mainly in tropical region only. Secondly, of course, you have to remember that will be related to the formation process. So you can see the sea surface temperature should be above 26 degrees Celsius. So this one, at least, I want you to remember. What about the next 3 blanks? So class number 8, what about Emily? Hi, Emily?
Me?
Yeah. Do you feel
Oh, I thought it's Emily. So
So what about warm and air, wet air?
I only know that the second blank is low. I think.
Yes. Okay. So you will find why we can form the low pressure. So you will find because the warm and wet air rush. And so the low pressure is developed, and you will find more air is drawn, forming the strong convection. So we can have the up and down. We have some sinking air where it reach the top of the sky, and then but at the same time you will find due to the sea surface temperature that was still high, so it keep going. We have the rising air. And so you can see the air keep moving in. So the center part of the of that area will become the lowest pressure center. And finally, you can see the wind speed keep increasing gradually to form the typhoon, or we call the tropical cyclone in general. So hopefully here you have the idea of how to form how the tropical cyclone formed in this case. So the next part I would like to discuss that will be somehow how the tropical cyclone affects Hong Kong climate. So can you please go to page 14? So basically the weather chart, if you want to know whether we have the tropical cyclone, so you can see in the weather chart we have the symbols like this, and this shows that will be the lowest air pressure of the tropical cyclone. That will be the eye of the tropical cyclone as well. And you can see the outer part, you will see a lot of the concentrate circular isobar, and the closer the isobar is it should be the with the higher wind speed. By the way, in the textbook, the air pressure right now is 999. So could you please change to 998 to 1000 HPA? So this will be more precise answer. So your textbook page 14. So could you please change it to from 999 to 998 to 1000 HPA. So what about 24th of July? So could you please look at page 15 and tell me describe the weather condition of Hong Kong? Okay, that would be this one. So you can see here the isobar close to each other, and on that day, the precipitate, the typhoon signal number 10 issued on that day. So what is the temperature of Hong Kong right now? What about class number 12?
It's 27 Celsius.
Yes, 27 degrees Celsius. Okay, what about air pressure? Class number 16? Ryan? Air pressure? So Hong Kong is, Hong Kong is here.
992 to 990 to 992.
Hong Kong is here.
Oh, 992 to 994.
Yes, 992 to 994 HPA pence. What about wind speed and wind directions? Class number 20. Class number 20. Yeah, wind direction and wind speed together. Yes, southeast as well. Wind direction. What about? Wind speed. Wind speed. Yes, thanks a lot. So wind speed there will be 12.5 meters per second, and wind direction is southeast. What about precipitation? So I guess if I ask, most of you don't know. In fact, these symbols will be referred to Hong Kong as well. So there is shower. There are some showers. And then you will find that if the tropical cyclone affecting Hong Kong, or we call influencing Hong Kong, you can see the Hong Kong temperature, the air pressure become lower, as well as the wind speed becomes stronger or higher. And then so you can see one day later, the isobar becomes farther apart from each other. Then you will see the wind speed decrease a lot. And then, by the way, again, change the data on your textbook. the table. Right now, 1005, the precise answer should be 1004 to 1068. Okay, the more important one I just want to look at, that will be the table here. So you will find that if it's approaching Hong Kong, usually the Hong Kong temperature that will be high and the pressure that will be low, and that windless or light wind only, and only got little rain. But if it's really influencing Hong Kong, what is the changes? What are the changes for the temperature, air pressure, wind, and rainfall? About class number 24. Class number 24.
Yes.
So can you fill just up? What about like this? Every one of you try to tell me the answer. What happened when it's influencing Hong Kong? So could you show your response in the polling? Okay, just a kind of attendance taking. Okay, 4 more students. I wait for 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, interesting. For some of the point, it's half. So in fact, if the tropical cyclone influencing Hong Kong, then usually the temperature that will be lower. Okay, and then the air pressure lower as well. And for wind speed, of course, is going to be higher because it's influencing Hong Kong, and also we have higher rainfall, or the amount of rainfall increase. But what about leaving Hong Kong? So, what about the last questions? Leaving Hong Kong, already leave Hong Kong. The tropical cyclone leave Hong Kong. How does this affect the temperature, air pressure, wind, as well as the amount of rainfall? Okay, I give maybe 5 more, 10 more seconds. Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so after it's leaving Hong Kong, of course, it's become higher, the temperature, as well as the air pressure. For the wind speed, of course, it's become lower, and the amount of rainfall is to be decreasing. Okay, so for this, why I want to finish this one, because these questions, if I ask you the question related to changes of climate, or sorry, changes of the weather of a place. So remember, you have to tell me using the comparative term, or maybe using some verb to describe increase, decrease, rise or drops like this. On the other hand, if I ask these questions in just like contrast the case for influencing Hong Kong or leaving Hong Kong, then remember you have to do it item by item. So as usual, so remember for the contrast case, you have to do it item by item. So that will be all I want to discuss today. So if you don't have further questions, you may leave now. Okay, bye-bye.